Alexa, turn on studio lights. I'm so glad that you're joining me here today. Welcome to my 4th sketchbook tour. Hi, my name is Vanessa and I make art videos about a little bit of this and that. If that speaks to you, consider subscribing. This sketchbook I'm about to show you, I had started before the beginning of this year, 2023, and I finished it right under the year this year. Okay, you guys, this is going to be a long video as I tour this sketchbook and take you through page by page, spread by spread. So go ahead and grab your favorite drink and snack and let's get through the sketchbook today. Hope you find it interesting, entertaining, and or inspirational. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. This is my sketchbook and it is the Handbook journal. And in the back, I have saved the little sleeve that comes with the sketchbook. Here's the information on it. It is watercolor paper, 300 GSM, and it is the Grand Portrait sketchbook. Acid-free paper, and it comes with 60 pages, 140-pound paper. It was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's fantastic paper for watercolor, not the best, but it definitely was good enough to do what I did in here, so I liked it. All right, let's go ahead and get into what's inside. So this I started off before 2023, and this was the spread that I did with my goals and intention for 2023. So I started off the year thinking I was going to have a lot of time to produce artwork, and that wasn't the case, but that's okay. Life happens, and I was pretty ambitious with my goals. Did I hit all of them? No, I didn't, but the intention was there. So that's okay. With this spread, I used Rosa Gallery, the Romantic set. Next, this is from Paul Rubens, Watercolor. I was quite impressed with the pigmentation and just the watercolor in general. It was pretty fun. I ended up painting some Funko Pops that I currently have in my collection. All right, here we have Schmincke watercolors. So I started off using a lot of watercolor. We'll see how this transforms, if it does, with the media that I use. And I really liked the Schmincke watercolors. Some of the colors were more powerful, had more of a punch to it, and others were more transparent. But overall, the quality was very good. This one is my Sennelier watercolor palette, and again, just testing it out, just doing a bunch of random little paintings here and there for this spread. Very vibrant. I'd say the Sennelier has more vibrancy than the Schmincke. I added a little bit of salt there to give some cool effect, the little burst effect there. And then this is a little snapshot of my Misty. She was my loyal cat's studio assistant, and she passed away this summer, and it was hard for me because if you're like me, and which most of you are, if you have fur babies, they are part of your family, and we had her for 16 years, and it was her time to exit. But she had a beautiful and wonderful life, and I will always keep her near and dear to my heart. My little sweet baby Misty. And then this one is of the Lucas watercolor, and then some accent with the Etcher, their metallic set. And I did my dog, Gaia. She passed away about a year and a half ago. We're going on 2 years in February. So I had decided to do a spread for her, my little heavenly doggy. I did some clouds there. And I had taken pictures of her in our backyard and found some cute ones that I wanted to paint. Now this one is from my video where I did a swatch or playing with the Kiritake, my Daniel Smith gouache, and my Rembrandt watercolor. And by far the Rembrandt watercolor was my favorite. The Kiritake was great. And I believe it was the Art Nouveau set, which is beautiful color story, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. But the winner of quality is going to be Rembrandt watercolor. Those are some amazing watercolors. They're the first that I own from that brand, and I'm glad that I picked those up. Those are really good. This one is from the Holbein Spring Gouache collection, and I made a video on this as well. Fun spring-like colors. And then here is just a tester page, which really should be in your sketchbook just testing out media, doodling, and just playing around. Compositionally, this is not strong, but just kind of playing and discovering, just kind of like a brain dump on here. And then this one is my Rum and Schmal watercolors. I'm so impressed with these. They are fabulous, and another great quality and affordable watercolor palette that I enjoyed. I never finished it. This is basically 2 layers, but I could have went in with a couple more layers to fine tune everything. But I had watched a series on TV on the deadliest snakes in the world, so this was some of them. I don't remember the names of all of them, but they're here, and I thought this color palette would be perfect for these snakes. And this one is when I was playing around with the Inktense pencils. These from Durant, and these are great. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I have these in my collection. And I know they make them in blocks and even in little pan sets, but for right now I'm pretty satisfied with these pencils. They're portable, and I can take them for when I have art on the go, because often on the weekends my husband and I will go out, depending on the weather. We'll either go to a park or to a coffee shop, and I'll take my art bags, and this is one of the items that I like to pack with me when I'm doing art in the wild. So yeah, those are great. I have a video on this where I did some swatching, testing out the set that I got, and some different techniques, playing around and experimenting with it, and then a final piece with those pencils. This one I had got and picked up a few new Sennelier watercolors from my trip when I went to Hawaii, Oahu, and so I was just kind of experimenting with mixing these and how that looked in combination with each other. And then I grabbed some of my other Sennelier watercolors and decided to paint something else with them. Good quality paints. Expensive, but they are quality paint. This was, I believe I made a video on this. I did. Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gouache. So this is the acrylic gouache, the fluorescent set, and then I had also did some core, the mini intensity watercolors. I tested those out, swatched them, and then I did a base with the watercolors and then some accenting, which it overpowered the whole scene with the acrylic gouache because of the intensity of the color. But I just had fun playing with it, and these are snapshots from my trip in Hawaii this past summer. And this one, I had filmed a video, and this is from my dry gouache palette. If I still have the footage, I'll try to put it together, but this is what I made. So this is my dry gouache palette today after, what, 5 months? And they still work. They're as hard can be. They're all dried out. Now that they're completely dry, they are more of a watercolor consistency, but you can work with them layer by layer. But they work best if you want to just add some accent work to your watercolor on top of it, or on its own, it's fine. It has more of a watercolor effect. Gouache does work best when it's straight from the tube and it's wet. Once it dries, it changes the effect that you get, but they're still useful. So like I said, if I can find that footage, I had filmed it and then work started in August and I was just super busy. I wasn't able to put anything together, but if I have time and I find it, I will try to put a video together on me making this. But I swatched all the colors and I pretty much took all of the Holbein gouache from the seasonal collection, spring, summer, fall, and winter, and just selected colors from each set and put it together. And what I chose when I was putting the colors together was I tried to put a warm and actually a warm and a cool red for each of the primary colors, and then I put some secondary colors there and some pastels, more pastel-like, and some neutral colors, so that I had a range to work with and build my composition with colors like that. So that was fun. And my sister-in-law gave me a book on birds, and I found this owl that I thought was beautiful. Owls are beautiful. And my cat Quasi, his face reminds me of an owl. And so his nickname is Deco, which means owl in Spanish. And so I decided, hey, he reminds me of my Quasi. I'm gonna go ahead and paint an owl. So that's what I did. This spread is from my A Gallo, and this watercolor set was gifted to me by my husband. My husband is very generous and he likes to support my art habit and my art addiction, so he bought me these watercolors. As you know, are very expensive, and I'm very grateful to have them. They're not necessary, but if you have some money to splurge, they are very nice paints, easy to paint with. The colors are just outstanding. And so I was just swatching the colors that I used to paint the birds, and I was testing out different mixes for my gray tones on how I was going to do my shadowed areas. And then this is a picture of our bird that always visits our yard. His name is Stan. Stan the Birdman. Now this one is a combination of media. So this is mixed media, and there's Stan again. And I just picked a few things from books that I have here. So these are from books. This is actually from a photograph that I had taken. I think it was in a Chipotle parking lot in the spring, and I really like those flowers, so I decided to use that to fill in this area. So the background, we have Inktense. This is the background on these three is acrylic gouache from Holbein, and I did not write down which watercolor I used here, which I should have, but these are watercolor base here, and my dry watercolor, or I'm sorry, my dry gouache palette on top just to accent areas. So that's what I did here. You know what? I think I used Winsor & Newton watercolor because I did pick up some new ones that I didn't show in my last haul, but I'll show you the watercolor palette that I have from Winsor & Newton. This is from their professional line. Really good. These 4 are not from Winsor & Newton. They're from other brands. I just had to fill in space, and I didn't want to buy any more watercolor because I have so many. Doesn't mean I'm gonna stop, but I wanted to fill these up and decided to pop in some other watercolors that I have from other brands. But all of these are Winsor & Newton, and I tried to purchase warm and cool primary colors so I could build the colors that I want. But very good quality watercolors. I love them. This one is the Graphite pencils. Right here from Durant, I have the 12 pencil set. Love these. These are great. And then over here, this is my Faber-Castell Graphite Aquarelle pencils. So they're water soluble. Both of these pencils are water soluble. So you draw with them, grab your water, your paintbrush, dip it in water, and then activate it, and it gives you a painterly effect. And so I tested out the range of pencils that those Faber-Castell pencils come with, and I put down, I think this one was pencil first, then watercolor over with Winsor & Newton, and then this was the opposite where I put watercolor first and then just a little bit of accent work with the graphite, the water-soluble graphite. This is here a little spread dedicated to my 2 new pets that we adopted this summer, and it says, "Welcome to the family." This is Dinah. Her nickname is DW because she whines a lot, so Dinah the whiner. And Zeus, ZZ is another nickname we have for him amongst many. If you have pets, I'm sure you have many nicknames that you give your pets. But I use Winsor & Newton watercolors. This is also mixed media. I think some of this is with my dry gouache palette and just some acrylic pens to outline. This is a spread with my NeoColor 2 Aquarelle. So I was fortunate enough to get the full set. I end up swatching these and love them. Oh my gosh, these are so good. I started a new sketchbook, and I think I'm going to make a video of me working with these and these Inktense. I don't know. I'm gonna make a video hopefully soon with mixed media in my new sketchbook with a few of my favorite media that I've been enjoying. So this is me testing out some colors, different techniques and then making something from that media. And that's just how I learn how to use something new. That's how I teach my students. You have to experiment with it, use a limited color palette, really know the color inside and out, and then from there try different techniques. What can it do? What can it do? And then from what you learn, make a picture from that. So make a composition from what you learned. Okay, so this one is experimenting with my dry gouache palette. I put that note, thank goodness, because I forgot. I need to do that more often. And this is a photograph that I had taken, and then these two are from books. So this is a watercolor base right here, and then accents with the dry gouache. This one is all done with gouache, and then the mushroom is the NeoColor 2 aquarelle base, and then the gouache on top. I think this was like my favorite outcome. And this one too. These two I really like the best. This one is good, it's okay. And then the background is watercolor. This one is from my trip to Berkeley on a weekend my husband and I went to. I think it was spring break. We went to Berkeley and we took some pictures at a park that we visited. And so here I wrote a little something. It says, "In the stillness I find clarity. I listen because the answer is revealed. It heals my mind as the sun kisses its surroundings. I drink in the beauty I see it creates. The sight heals my soul. I walk through nature with my heart open and appreciate the healing power of the moment." It says of movement, I should say moment. My body is thankful. Nature heals. And I used watercolor. I didn't state which palette, but those are the colors that I used from different brands. And so I captured this. This wasn't plein air. That was one of my goals, and I didn't really do that this year. But at some point in my life, I will do that. So I took a picture as the sun, it was the golden hour. And when I came back home, I painted this. And then this is another snapshot from that visit to Berkeley. These are some of the other things that we saw and took pictures of. And this is watercolor and dry gouache. This one is of my Winsor Newton palette. I do remember that. I started to get more colors and I decided to paint something and just kind of did a mashup of things here and there. And colors that I used, different values, like a value scale. From opaque to transparent, and there's my quasi. And this picture was from one of our walks that my husband and I do on Saturdays. And I did that, and I did a little piece to my new kitty Dinah. She is a hyper little thing. She's very sweet and loving, super smart. But I'm sure you will hear her in some of my videos in the near future because she's always with me in my art studio. At the moment, she's not. I'm surprised. She's probably taking a nap upstairs, but there's Dinah, my little sweetie pie. And this is Winsor & Newton. I really like that palette, those colors. This one I never finished, but this was Winsor & Newton. I decided just to leave it in a progress piece to kind of see what I do as an underpainting. It has about 2 layers, but I could have gone back and did more, but I didn't. That's okay. Same thing with this one. This is of different shots of Dinah. And then this is the character she reminds me of from, if you ever watched Studio Ghibli, it's I don't know the name of the character, but the movie is from Nausicaa of oh, I can't remember the rest of it. I'll write it down below so if you know what I'm talking about. And like I said, I didn't finish this. And then she has a lazy eye when she's tired, when she gets sleepy. So I put lazy eye means she's sleepy. Winsor Newton palette. And then I tried doing some negative painting. I got pretty impatient with it, so it didn't come out the way I wanted to. But I did these analogous color scheme here and analogous color scheme here. I like the colors, but the output I could have done better for sure. And then I decided to do negative painting with my Holbein acrylic gouache. So that was fun. I was going to make a video on this, but then I decided not to for whatever reason. And then this one is a spread of Zeus, Quasi, and Dinah. I had two other pets. Sunny, he's an orange Siberian cat, and then Pika, she is a Pomeranian. And this palette is, I think, a mashup of just different palettes that I have. Let me grab the palette I used. Okay, so you may have seen this bag on my art haul that I did when I was in Hawaii. I picked up this bag. They do sell it. I have seen it at my local art store, but I thought it was more special to get it from there. This is the palette, I think it's this one. This is from Art Toolkit, and I believe it's this palette that I used right here. So this is handy, it's nice and slim. These tins are expensive, but it's very convenient. I do like having this. And these are magnetic where you can switch them out. The sap green goes there and the emerald green goes right here. So there's that. And then while I have this out, I'll show you this other one I have. I'm sure I used this in somewhere in I'm sure I used this somewhere in the palette. Yep, I may have used this one. I'm not too sure. This is a card, swatch card here. I need to laminate it. Just put some, I do have a laminator, but I also have, if you don't have a laminator, you can use package tape. That's what I did here. And these are just a combination of different watercolor brands. Same thing. Okay, I was getting tired at the end of the sketchbook. Like, I loved it, but I was ready to move on to something new. And this is Pika My Palm. I did a little piece with her, and watercolors. I'm not too sure which brand I used. It's just some loose painting, experimental. This one, I used my Core Mini Palette, and this is of Sunny, my orange Siberian cat. And I used the Graphite from Derwent. So I used these. And I think that's the last page, and then this is the exit page. It's a mess. Definitely not my best work, but as you can see, I was ready to finish. It was pretty loose and not my best craftsmanship, but that's okay. I still created that day. That is quite all right. It says sketchbook complete, but the journey continues, and that's what I like to remind myself when I finish a sketchbook. I like to keep the information if I can. This one has a nice pocket. If not, I'll take it and then I'll like glue it on there so I can refer to it later on. if I need to. But that wraps it up. I thank you guys so much for watching and joining me today. Like I said, I apologize for being out, and I'm grateful if you're still around. To old subscribers, new subscribers, welcome. I'm going to try to make videos more on a regular basis. Things that I don't have to do as much editing, so it makes it easier for me time-wise to get content out. My work schedule is very demanding because of the new class that I'm teaching, but I will try to give you guys updates when I can, and I'll definitely have more time during the summer vacation to put out work. But I do miss it here. I love making videos. It's fun. It's a creative outlet for me. I enjoy interacting with you guys. So many positive people out there. There's a little bit negative I've had here and there, but you know, you just ignore those people that try to troll and put out negativity. So this is a place of positivity and creation, and that's what I want to share here. I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful and creative day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.